Neil Marshall brings to me, he's the guy who did Dog Soldiers, he made The Descent, he made, Doomsday. He has a real visual cinematic sense, and to me, what I like about this, you've got great performances from people like Michael Fassbender, you've got Noel Clarke, actors who I really like, who always bring something to the screen. And yeah, I don't think it's going to be around for a long time in the cinema, but I suspect it'll have a very sort of long life.
It's a bit of a Western, though, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Oh, yes,
it is a Western, although it happens to be about Romans and Picts.
It is absolutely a Western. It's very astute. It's about the thing about you're trapped behind enemy lines, you've got to get back. It's the band of people fighting their way through That's exactly what it is, yeah.
Now, we're almost out of time. A brief word about Avatar, which is not in the cinemas. You're recommending it as DVD
it's on
because
DVD.
It's two-dimensional.
It's on 2D on DVD, and I am here to tell you that it is better in 2D. Once you get rid of
the 3D, you see, and I thought the plot of Avatar was pretty rubbish, but I liked the visual experience.
The plot of Avatar is Pocahontas in space, and the 3D just made everyone think, oh, this must have more depth in it. The fact of the matter is, in 2D, you can see it for what it is, which is an overblown but passingly entertaining science fiction movie.
Excellent. Well, on that very happy note, we'll leave it, and if you want to find out more about the latest movies on release, you can go to Mark Kermode's BBC movie blog at bbc.co.uk/Mark Kermode. Mark still doesn't like 3D. That's it for us. Film 24 will be back next week, and he will still not like it next week. Goodbye.
Good evening. Well, all in all, the bank holiday weekend got a little bit of everything in there, probably to keep everybody happy. Gardeners and farmers, yes, there will be some rain, but if you're out with the family, there'll also be some sunny spells as well. So trying to sum it all up, feeling noticeably colder, that is more important. Sunny spells at times. Now, we've got a lot of cloud across the country at the moment, and that cloud is producing some pretty sharp showers, particularly this mass of whiter-looking cloud. Fairly organised showers still yet to clear away from North Yorkshire and the Lincolnshire coastline and into that southeast corner as well. Probably not easing away until after midnight, and then leaving a covering of cloud, really, for many of us, with some patchy rain to come in the far north of Scotland. A chillier night here, 2 to 4 degrees. Elsewhere, we're looking at 6 to 9. So we start off tomorrow rather misty and a cloudy note. Some brightness for a time, but it won't be long, particularly in England and Wales. We start to see some showers being triggered off, some of them quite heavy and some of them possibly thundery as well. So down into the southwest by the middle of the afternoon, there could be some sharp showers across Cornwall and across Devon. We've still got a southerly wind or southeasterly wind, so not as cold as it's going to feel. Some sharper showers across much of Wales as well. For Northern Ireland, here the showers should be few and far between, and the same too for Scotland, but more importantly, the wind swinging round to a northerly direction. That's going to make it feel quite raw on those exposed coasts, despite a relatively dry afternoon to come. A few isolated showers dotted around, but more significant showers once we head back into the northwest and across the southern Midlands as well. A few showers as well through to the southeast corner. 16 degrees, perhaps highest values for Saturday. That's 61 Fahrenheit. Now, we could see for a time some fairly heavy, significant rain for Saturday evening through to Sunday morning across England and Wales. Some of that quite heavy and possibly slow-moving too. So that'll take its time to clear away. It'll be lingering in the southeast for quite some time. Behind it to the north, a drier and brighter Sunday, but it really is going to feel noticeably colder, and also the wind's starting to pick up. And the wind's coming around from a northeasterly direction. So add on the temperatures and the strength of the winds, we're looking at 9 to 12 at the very best, and that is certainly going to be a bit of a shock to the system. By Bank Holiday Monday, certainly drier and brighter. If we get a shower, well, they should be few and far between, but we still keep that northerly flow. So all in all, feeling much fresher across the Bank Holiday weekend. Whatever you're doing, I hope you manage to enjoy yourself.
From policy promises to publicity stunts, the campaign show is looking at all the election stories in the countdown to the big day. We're interviewing the key players and hearing your views. So join me every weeknight at 9 on the BBC News Channel. The election on the BBC, making it clear.
Back on the campaign trail, the leaders of the three main parties redouble their efforts in the last few days before the election. After last night's final TV debate, all three say it's a fight to the finish.
This election is far from over. We're now entering the most energetic and the most important stage of this campaign.
The choice between change from the Conservative parties, a change you can't believe in, a change you can't trust, and a change from the Liberal Democrats, which you can trust.
It's a pretty good motto to try harder, to work longer, and to dig deeper. That's what I've got to do over the next few days anyway.
Mr. Blair, are you Mr. Brown's last chance?
Tony Blair is brought in to bolster Gordon Brown, who's trailing in the polls. Also on tonight's programme, a massive oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico starts to wash up on the coast of the southern United States.
I'm frightened. This is a very, very big thing, and the efforts that are going to be required to do anything about it, especially if it continues on, are just mind-boggling.
And at the inquest into the death of the most senior British Army officer killed in Afghanistan, a tribute from his father.
It made the nation, but more importantly, the government, realise that it was a war that we were involved in Afghanistan, and that you don't fight wars based on hope.
And later in the hour, I'll have all the sport, including Fulham start preparing for the biggest game in the club's history, as Sir Alex Ferguson claims Roy Hodgson must be named manager of the season.
Good evening, welcome to the BBC News at 6. The leaders of the three main Westminster parties are all back on the campaign trail after last night's final prime ministerial debate. Several initial polls suggest the Conservative leader, David Cameron, came out on top. Nick Clegg says the Liberal Democrats offer the only alternative to the Tories, while for Labour, Gordon Brown says he needs to work longer and to dig deeper over the next few days. Here's our Deputy Political Editor, James Landale.
The debates are over, their campaigns are not. These three men now have 6 days to win the votes of millions of people who've yet to make up their minds. Despite the sartorial spin, polls suggest that last night's debate hasn't changed the game as Gordon Brown had hoped. Posters were up today, but some heads were down too.
The question for Labour is very simple. Is there anything they can do to turn this election around? Is it enough to launch a bunch of posters in a car park here in Birmingham?
Well, yes, say Labour, if they can convince people that voting for anyone but them would put the recovery and public services at risk.
I think last night some of the great issues of this campaign became clear. The time for the debates has passed, as I said, but the time for decision is beginning, and we will continue to fight for the future of this country until the very last second of this election campaign.
A campaign disrupted once by an open microphone, and today by a car crash just yards from where they stood. A headache for the spin doctors, a gift to the headline writers, who were spoilt for choice later in the day when the Prime Minister visited a school.
Am I being thrown out?
Yes. Who else has got a question for me?
How did you feel after last night's debate?
How did I feel after last night's debate? Very good question. Quite tired, actually.
Well, tired may be, but as he visited some schools today, many Tories were confident that momentum had shifted in their favour. One question, though, have they got enough time to reassure voters who still have doubts?
I think there are millions of people in this country still making up their mind about how they're going to vote, and I'm absolutely determined to do everything